I24's diplomatic correspondent Ellie Hockenberg. Emmanuel, sanctions put on one NATO member by another. How is this happening?
First of all, it's long overdue because, yes, Turkey is a NATO member, but not a reliable one. President Erdoğan has not been a reliable ally. He's been teaming up with Russia within the NATO alliance, buying anti-aircraft missiles from Russia, having an extremely offensive foreign policy vis-à-vis the West, teaming up with Iran, supporting the nuclear deal with Iran, criticizing the United States and Europe very firstly, and now allowing the transfer of refugees from Syria to the European Union. In other words, Erdogan is not a reliable ally, and it was about time for the United States to show him that he cannot get away with everything. Previous administration, unfortunately, in the United States have let him get away with a lot, with too much. And I think it was about time for the United States to react and show him that there are limits to their tolerance.
But Turkey does play a key role in NATO. They are one of the few countries to hold a wild card against Russia because they do control access to the Black Sea. That's Russia's only warm water port. So keeping that in mind, is the U.S. possibly weakening NATO by not encouraging the relationship to be stronger and instead imposing sanctions in this way?
I don't think so. I think we're past that. Again, Erdogan is not a reliable ally. He's the one who started behaving the way he behaves, having this foreign policy, which in my opinion is hostile to the West. He's become a Trojan horse within NATO. And so no matter what the West does, as a matter of fact, the more the West and the United States are trying to compromise with him, the more he's confrontational. And therefore, I think this whole argument that says, you know, we have to be nicer to him and this way maybe he'll be a more reliable ally, it's the very opposite. I think now that finally the United States is showing him that there are limits to their patience, he might actually reverse his policy. But the policy so far did not work. Being too tolerant vis-à-vis his offensive foreign policy vis-à-vis the West has not worked, and it is time to reverse that tendency.
Now, the U.S.-Turkey relationship can only go on for so long at this rate. Is this going to be a longer-term rift, or will an end come sooner rather than later?
I believe that as long as Erdogan is in power, Turkey will have this pan-Islamic foreign policy, this rhetoric also very offensive towards the West. Erdogan yesterday said that Turkey rejects, quote, the evangelical and Zionist rhetoric of the U.S. president. This is how he talks about the United States. So I think that as long as Erdogan is in power, I don't think we should expect any change for the better in Turkey's foreign policy.
All right, and we're